What's happening, municipals? This is Big C. Let me tell you about a great place, Envision Golf. Indoor simulators have exploded in golf, and Envision is leading the charge here in Portland. With the use of leading simulator technology in Golf Zone, you get transported to 200 plus courses across the world with the most realistic simulator experience you'll ever come across. With a hitting mat that not only gives you the turf to simulate real rough and sand conditions, the mat also raises up and slopes to create real live positions like playing on the actual course. If you're in need of a lesson, Vision Golf also has you covered with the PGA Teaching Pro Ignacio Isern. On top of that, they create an atmosphere with full bar and food options and sports on all the TVs that you're never going to want to leave. This is a great place for all events to be hosted with the VIP section to accommodate groups of all sizes. If you live in the greater Portland area or even the Pacific Northwest, you have to come out to a Vision Golf and check it out in Tigard, Oregon. Use code Municipals and you will get your first hour for free on your first visit. Also, check out league nights and monthly events. Envision Golf, the Pacific Northwest premier simulator facility.
How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, municipals? This is Big C. We have a special guest this week. European PGA Pro, my teaching pro of the title sponsor of the podcast, Envision Golf, Ignacio Isern. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hanging in there. You know, a little hot in the Pacific Northwest. You know, it's nice that you work in an indoor facility, keeping cool a little bit. It's like 102 outside, which is like murderous in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I'm appreciating it actually, now that you mention it, because I'm not even really noticing it much because I'm always, when I'm at work, I'm just always inside and people are like, it's so hot. I'm like, oh, is it?
Yeah, that's kind of the privilege of working in an indoor facility that keeps it at like 71 all day, every day.
Yeah, totally.
So I want to give the listeners a little bit of insight on yourself. So, where did you start picking up the game? Who introduced you to the game? What golf courses did you learn how to play golf on?
My dad is the one that introduced me to golf. He played a lot of sports, but he started getting into golf probably in his late 30s, and then he got really into it. He became kind of a golfaholic. That was in Spain, actually. That's where I'm from originally. And he became a member of a club over there, and he just started playing a lot. Did really well. I think he was like a 10 handicap within the first year or something. And then we moved to Northern California from Seville, Spain. And when we moved to California, he actually had a golf hole built in our backyard. So we had, he got the greenkeeper from the local club, and he had him built a real green and bunkers, and we had like 100 yards of grass. So that's literally where I started, just like, chipping around and having fun and chipping from like really weird lies and from, off the concrete and wherever I could think of. I'd hit balls at the neighbors' houses and shit like that.
Tell people where in Northern California you moved from Spain.
We moved to Chico, California.
So
some of you might know it as a party town.
Yeah,
college party town.
I was going to say most of our listeners, or a lot of our listeners, are from Northern California. So they're probably like, "How the hell did you end up in Chico, California from Seville, Spain? Like, of all places, why did your parents choose Chico?"
Right. Well, my dad's he's an expert in the olive business. And olive oil, and so there's a lot of. He was in charge of a huge farm over there in Oroville.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's, I guess, Chico was the nicest town kind of around. So that was it.
So, what course did you grow up playing on out in Chico?
So, so there's a pretty cool little public course over there called Bidwell Park, and then when I started playing, we got a membership at Canyon Oaks Country Club. I played a lot. I mean, that's where I really became a player. It's just a kind of in the hills, and some pretty tight holes, in different elevations, and rattlesnakes, and really nice course to play at. I really enjoyed that, just playing like 36 holes, there was like 3 or 4 other juniors there that I grew up playing with that were good players, and we just play a lot of golf.
Did you play high school golf in Chico as well?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played some junior golf, then I played high school golf. Then I played a bit of college golf. That was at St. Mary's College of California.
Out in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and then and then after that, I decided to kind of, after I graduated college, I decided to go back to my roots, and I went back to Spain just to live and check it out, and then that's where I initially became a teaching pro. So I went to Madrid and got my, basically the PGA would be credentials in Spain, so that I could start teaching, because golf coaches were making pretty good money at that time. That was before the recession in 2008. So I was there teaching for quite a few years. That was as soon as I got certified, I was teaching like full on at that golf club, the Royal Golf Club of Seville. Really nice course designed by Jose Maria Olazabal. So I enjoyed that because I started teaching before I really learned a lot about teaching, in a way. Like, I was young, I got certified, but I still had so much to learn. But I just full on started teaching. So a lot of what I learned was through my own experimentation, just observing and seeing how people move and what needed to be done. Like, I had to kind of figure out a lot of it, I felt like, and just kind of reflecting on it. And I think that's one of the things that actually made me a better coach, rather than just like getting information from wherever, whether it's a famous YouTube guy or whatever, and then just like regurgitating it. So I actually had to understand what I was doing.
So after working at that club, where did you go next?
Right.
In kind of, right. I've heard many stories from you in many different places that you've lived and taught. So
right.
After that, what was the next step that you kind of went to from there?
Right. So in Spain, the most popular golfing area is called the Coast of Golf, or the Coast of the Sun, and that's I don't know if you've heard of Marbella, but it's the southern coast, more on towards the east. And there's like a ridiculous amount of golf courses there. Valderrama is probably the most famous one. So yeah, there's like 80 golf courses just in that small area, basically. And it's a very touristy place. People come to play golf there from all around the world. So that's where the golfing is happening, really. So I ended up working my way over there. And I just popped into the Michael Campbell Golf Academy. Michael Campbell won the U.S. Open in 2005. What was kind of special about that was that he beat Tiger Woods. So it was he was literally going head to head with Tiger Woods on that, and he just did awesome and won that. And so I went over there, and I literally just rolled up and started talking to the director of the academy there. And he was developing like a golf academy for players who wanted to go on tour. The director of the academy was Stephen Palmer, a really good pro from England. And he previously in the previous years, he had been bringing, professionals and semi-professionals over to that area during the winter to train. because it's awesome weather there. And, he was kind of training those guys. And so that's why Michael Campbell kind of reached out to him and said, I want to have this, in my academy. So anyway, after a, conversation with him, he said, actually, I had been looking for a PGA Pro, and I finally had it down to like a couple guys, but I want you now. And so he talked to Michael Campbell, and he's like, man, this guy just rolled up, and I really liked him, but he doesn't have his PGA of England or Great Britain and Ireland degree, which is, it's the oldest one. It's a 3-year degree with the University of Birmingham. You really do a lot in that. You learn a lot. So anyway, he told me, we want you to work with us, but would you be willing to do this degree? So I said, yeah, let's do it. So I got my, PGA of Great Britain and Ireland degree. And then, and we did that. We were working, kind of developed that academy, and that went really well. So it was really cool because we did everything there. When the guys would come to us, from England or from, they were coming from all over the world, even from the US as well. But we had a workshop. We would check their equipment, their loft and lie, seeing if everything was correct, if everything was good for them. We would do physical screenings for them, set up their gym programs, their food programs, go out and drink with them, everything. It was just like, totally kind of a holistic approach. And we covered, absolutely everything they needed. So that was really fun. Finally, the owners of that resort, which really didn't know anything about golf, they were more into real estate, they kind of screwed everything up. So we ended up moving on. And at that point, I started to, just kind of do my own thing. And then I started looking on the PGA of Great Britain and Ireland kind of job postings, because that really kind of opens everything up. It opens the world up to you because it is recognized all around the world. So there was actually a really interesting position as head pro at an IMG managed golf course in Vietnam called Bana Hills Golf Club. Since it opened, it won like best course in Asia, like almost every year. It was just unbelievable course designed by, of course, IMG, but, Luke Donald, because he was the top player, when they designed that course. So unbelievable golf course. Just like when you're on one hole, like all that exists is that hole and the jungle all around it. Like you can't see any other hole. You just hear like the sounds of the, the birds and stuff. And it's just amazing so course.
It's kind of like the Pine Valley of Asia, where it's just, that hole that exists, and, every hole is very individualized. Yeah.
And absolutely immaculate condition. I mean, they had a really good greenkeeper from the UK. Course was always in awesome shape, but it was very touristy. So it was mainly tourists from like Korea, China, some from Australia that would come to play that course. We didn't have members. So I was actually there when COVID hit. So that killed it a little bit at that moment. And, I because of that, I wasn't making a whole lot of money over there, kind of started looking again at my options. And I actually, there was a good opportunity in Moscow, actually, at Pestovo Golf and Country Club. So I applied for that, and I got that. So I was the academy director over there. And that was interesting for a while as well. Really good students, by the way. They really like an expert over there. So like if you know your stuff, they'll really value it.
Yeah,
and that's,
so you were telling me about the kind of people that you kind of met in Asia and especially in Russia, and how there's a very, big line of separation between, the lower class and kind of the upper class of of that where,
Yeah,
in America, every person of any class, golf is kind of open to everyone, where it's not
absolutely.
necessarily like that in other countries. It's a little bit more closed off. It's a little bit more elitist.
Hmm.
Where, in Great Britain, Ireland, Scotland, those places, it's, even more open to the public than golf is in America. Even though, Americans think that golf is kind of closed off and elitist, it way worse in most countries, probably the best in Great Britain. But what did you kind of come across and see in the people that you met through your kind of endeavors in Asia and Russia?
Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely in Asia, it was, I mean, at least in Vietnam, the locals who played golf, I mean, they were the rich people, basically. Um, it, I think as time goes on, little options kind of pop up. Like they might open up a driving range and then people can go to the driving range and stuff. But really, to play at the golf courses, it was, it was the rich Vietnamese, a very small group of people. And then the tourists, as I said. And in Moscow, I mean, the club where I worked at, I mean, they were all millionaires and billionaires. That's kind of how it is. It's very much, for the wealthy. But again, some driving ranges open up, like even in downtown, like places with simulators, stuff like that. So people do start to get involved in it, and I think as time goes, they probably will do things to give kind of everybody more options to play. The same thing happened in Spain. Like when I first moved back, it was still kind of more for the wealthy, and even in those years that I was there, it changed. They opened up a public course in Seville where I was, and so just a whole nother group of people started playing. So, but yeah, in the U.S., if people think that it's it's for the wealthy, that's ridiculous. Anyone can play in the U.S. Like we used to at the course I was saying, that public course, Bidwell Park. I mean, you could go there in your like flip flops almost and swimming trunks and just get a few beers in the golf cart and just go out and play for like $20 or something when I was a teenager.
I would say that America is much more open than most, and it's gotten even more lenient on the public side. Where
Yeah.
T-shirts and just your normal shorts are accepted nowadays, and you don't even
Yeah.
have to go out in golf attire to most of the public golf
Right.
courses, which is
Yeah.
incredible. What brought you back to America from Russia?
Right. Sorry, I was just going to say that also with the courses, the huge thing in the U.S. is there's just so many awesome public courses.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, just the quality of the public courses in America is just unbelievable. That, and you absolutely don't have that like anywhere else. You know, what brought me back? Well, being in those different places, I also, through those contacts and everything, I would do trips with some of my students to Dubai, for example, and stuff like that. And in one of those trips, I met the owner of a golf club in Kazakhstan, actually, and they actually gave me, one of the guys that I was teaching, he had improved so much, and this was like one of his good friends, and he was like really impressed, and he really wanted me to come be a coach at their golf club. So they gave me a ridiculous offer. I mean, it was like an offer that you couldn't say no to. So I was actually going to go there. But then the world started getting a bit crazy. There were some problems over there in Kazakhstan. It was just, there was some violent situations, and I was like, not sure if I really want to go over there anymore. And then, unfortunately the war in Ukraine and all that started, and I was like, I just started thinking about coming back to the U.S. because of all that, really. Also, most of my family is in Northern California, so just to be nice to be closer to the family again after so many years. And Oregon seemed like a really cool place. I really like the nature over here and the golf, and so yeah, it was kind of a few different things, but.
So how did you meet Martha and Marcel? How did you end up at Envision Golf?
Yeah, so when I started thinking about, I wonder what's going on back in the States, what kind of, possibilities there are to work and all that, I just went on LinkedIn, or I was on LinkedIn one of these times looking around, and I actually just saw this Envision Golf thing that one of the owners had posted, and I looked into it, and then I just looked at the profile of the owner. That was John, one of the owners. So I looked at his profile, and I saw that he also graduated from St. Mary's like I did, and I just really thought that it was a really good time for this type of business, for the indoor simulator business. Plus, with golf instruction, because of the technology that's been coming out with launch monitors and all that. Anyway, a lot of the instruction happens indoors now, because a lot of the times you'll have the everything set up in the academy, and you can't take a lot of those things out. You can take the TrackMan out and GC Quad and stuff, but a lot of the times you have force plates and different things that you actually have to be inside anyway. So it's a really good time to have instruction indoors, because you can just have all the equipment there. So I thought of it in terms of that as well. Like it would be a really good opportunity to set up a really awesome academy at an indoor place. So anyway, I reached out to John, and that's kind of where it started. Then John spoke with Marcel, who's the president of Envision Golf, then we started talking, and they love golf, and they wanted to make this place where you could play indoors and all that, and it's also kind of entertainment and that. And what I told them was like, that is awesome. Like, it'll be a fun place, the entertainment part, a place where you can have food, where you can have drinks and just have fun. However, I said, a lot of people are going to start doing that, but not everybody is going to develop a really good, high quality golf academy. So I was saying, if you guys can do that, that's going to be huge as well. It's really important if you, if you're offering a service really for people who also have been playing, who know golf, who have been playing golf for a long time, and that appreciate a top quality service in terms of golf. Somebody there who knows what they're talking about, who's been in it a long time, good coaches, all that kind of stuff. So they love the idea, and then, yeah, we made it work, and here I am.
And so, you being now my coach and the person that I go to see to get my swing dialed in, we've only gone one session, but we're going to get it dialed in, and my goals and what I'm looking to achieve kind of in my game. What do you look at being a coach? What makes you excited to work with a certain player? Is there a certain skill level? What would you say is your favorite part about being a PGA pro and
Yeah, that's easy. My favorite part is that there's something about golf that people who play golf, they get a little nutty about it, like and it's tough, and most people suck, right? So it's like, to get somebody who's not very good or not as good as they'd like to be, but love golf so much and to be able to actually turn that around and get a big result and see how happy they get, that is the best part about it, and that's what I like about it. And to me, it really doesn't matter if it's a beginner or if it's a +2 handicap. Like, I like people who like to learn. Those are the students I like. I don't care if they're super good or whatever. I like good students, people who like to learn, who listen and try to do what needs to be done. And I'd say that's most people, as long as you're communicating well with them and you know what I mean? Occasionally, you might get that guy who thinks he knows, everything, and, but I'll kind of let him know that. I won't take too much of that, and I'll just be like, look, man, just save your money if you already know what you want to do, and you don't have to waste both of our times. But that's pretty rare. I think if you're a good coach and you listen to them first and you see where they want to get to, and you're able to see what's going on with their game and their swing, and you're able to communicate it effectively to them, most people are not stupid. They'll see that you know what you're doing, and they're on board.
Yeah, I know, especially from my experiences with you, through the little bit that me and you have worked together. One thing that I look for in a coach, and I've had many coaches throughout my, golf career, it's making things simple to where it's every time I see you, it's a simple step or simple drill that I take home with me, that I then practice, master, and really get that drill dialed in, to then when I see you next, when you see that I have been achieving that specific drill, we then move to the next step. And it's all about a process to get to the point that we want to be, instead of filling my head full of thoughts and of a bunch of different things that I need to fix. Like, when me and you saw each other, one thing that I appreciated was, you showed me a video of kind of my swing, and you were like, your backswing, we don't need to touch it. It's you get in proper position, your leg movement, everything is immaculate there. But then the entire, the wheels fall off the wagon the minute your downswing starts. Right. And so it was more of, me, because I tore my hamstring, and my brain has decided not to allow me to use my legs to create, that speed and utilize my muscles and my legs to create that follow through. I have created tendencies to come over the top and utilize my upper body to create that strength. And the first thing we did was just figuring out how to utilize my legs again. And not get me to go outside to in on my swing path, and just literally change it the opposite way, to where I'm hitting it the complete opposite way, not working on a draw, not working on a shot shape, but just getting my hands in the proper position, creating a stronger grip that then allows me to create a shot path that is a lot more neutral and allows me to keep that face open and come inside to out. And just as one drill that you have me working on, then when I come see you next, those things really are things that I appreciate in a coach. And the way you explain things, I think, could be beneficial to everybody. And kind of what I'm getting at is, me and you've talked about this. I think every single person, if you value your game and you spend a lot of money playing, equipment, all of those things, the money that you're spending on those things without seeing a PGA pro or someone that you can learn from, I think is just an absolute waste of money, unless you're getting the actual part of your game that matters dialed in prior to the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, Ideally, of course, you get it dialed in your game first, and then get the clubs that fit into that. But yeah, the clubs are only going to have a certain amount of effect, right? I mean, you need to be able to play golf and make an efficient golf swing. So the most important thing that a coach has to do is first, like when I meet somebody new, my head is completely empty. Like I think that a good coach, the first thing they need to do is just observe. So as you probably noticed, like, we kind of just chatted for a moment, I might ask a couple of questions, and then I'm just like, all right, hit some balls. I'm going to observe you for a while because, everybody's different. And what a good coach needs to do is really find the root cause of your issues. So like, that's what we did. We found, like I could have told you so many things. I could have told you 10 things that were kind of effects of that root cause. Like somebody could have told you, oh, your club path is this way because you're swinging this way. This is happening because, so they could have had you working on all those, 10 different things. Or you can find the root cause. And if you're able to fix that, what you find is that those 10 things just kind of disappear because they're just being caused by that. And that's what I find that a lot of people don't really are not effective in doing, is finding that root cause, which a lot of the times has to do with your biomechanics, like, how the important movements of the golf swing are happening, like things like how you're interacting with the ground, how you're sequencing. Those kinds of things are super important. They need to be learned from the beginning. Like I teach so many people and I start to explain really simple things about, how your body needs to move efficiently, whether you're shooting a basketball or throwing a ball and then when you relate it to other sports, they understand it very quickly. But then you go, well, in golf, it's the same thing. You're swinging your arms in the golf club, but it's all happening because of how you're interacting with the ground initially. That's why we wear golf shoes with spikes. Like there's these very simple things that they just don't know, and understanding that and starting to, train them in how they need to make these main movements with their body makes a huge difference, rather than on, focusing on one of the little things that, is just not is kind of branched off from a bunch of other things that have happened. But I'm not sure if I branched off myself there. What was your question?
Oh, that was perfect. Then the one thing I kind of want to tackle in is kind of.
Oh right, I remember. So yeah, finding like is it worth the investment, right, to get golf lessons or not? Well, it depends on who you find, to be honest. Unfortunately, I've met a lot of, PGA pros or who have gotten certified. Not all of them are good. Some of them are shit. I'm sad to say. That's just how it is. It's like that in everything, isn't it? I mean, in any, you might have, I don't know, experts in finance who have graduated from Harvard and, who knows? Maybe some of them have just done enough to kind of get through, and others have become geniuses. You know what I mean? Like, so being certified doesn't necessarily make you a good coach. Okay, so I think you have a lot better chances because, you obviously go through the program and you study things, but you still have to reflect on what you study, you know what I mean? It's not just about regurgitating stuff. Think about it, question it, see if there's other ways. And, and I'm always open to, like, for example, when a student comes and goes, oh, my brother-in-law was giving me some tips, and I'm like, is your brother-in-law a golf coach? No, he's a lawyer, but, and I'm like, okay, no worries. Let's hear what he said. He might be really good, because it doesn't matter I'm a PGA pro or I'm a this or that. It's about are you thinking about the right things? Do you really understand the golf swing? Do you understand how the body works in the golf swing? So then I listen, and then 99% of the time it's crap, right? so yeah, I think that the coaches who are better, most of the time they're going to be PGA coaches. They have a much better chance, than obviously somebody who hasn't really spent time trying to coach and learn and all that. But it's not a guarantee as well, always that, if it's a certified PGA coach, that you're going to be doing the right thing. So, but I mean, like, you have to try. Like, if my shoulder is messed up and I need help, I need to try to find, a physio or a doctor or whatever that helps me with my shoulder. If I find one and it doesn't, and I don't see results, I have to keep looking, right? I'm not going to go on with a messed up shoulder. So if your golf game sucks, like, keep trying. There are some good coaches out there.
But also in that same vein, it's if you're having shoulder issues, you don't find something on YouTube or online that's going to help it. You go find a professional that knows how to get you back to where you're in a good shape again, and it's a usable shoulder again. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm leaning with the PGA Pro. Where I feel like you can get to a point where, your game can get to a level by utilizing, blogs and YouTube and things like that. But trying to self-diagnose yourself and learning how the physio and how the body works is very difficult. And I think your curve and your learning path will be much shorter by going and seeing somebody that knows and has gone through the process to get certified and do those type of things. But you're right. I think really doing your research is a big, big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been observing people. I've been coaching for 17 years now. And I've been observing people who are trying to do that through YouTube, or my friend gave me some advice. And, if it works, great. In the past 17 years, I've seen that it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Just from experience. Like, I as I said, I'm always open for it to, but it just, no, if you find a good coach and they're out there, and I think instruction is getting better in general with the technology and all that, it's much more efficient. I mean, you are going to make that much shorter. But yeah, the other day I had a nice couple in here, and I had just met them, and we were talking about lessons and that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, sometimes he's giving me some advice." And it's so funny how everyone thinks they can give golf advice, right? Like, here I am, like, I've been doing this intensively for 17 years, and then this lady's husband, just, who is not even a very good player, even can just think that they do it with the best intention, right? But they feel like they can just give advice, and we were kind of joking about it, and I was like, I mean, look, if your wife tells you my neck hurts, you don't walk over and crack her neck, right? Like you're a chiropractor or something. You say, go to the chiropractor. So why are you not doing that with golf?
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time, especially because I play by myself a lot. I'll go out and, I'll hit a bad shot, and, somebody will say something in the group where it's like, oh, if you do this and this, and then I look at them crazy. And I'm like, man, I've seen you hit 3 drives into the shit left. Like, for you to even have the goal to be able to tell me what I need to correct, you know, is nuts to me. And I feel like you see it so often where, a 3 handicap or like a scratch golfer could have gotten to that point on their own without a PGA pro. It's definitely possible. There are people out there. I mean, most famous PGA Tour pro that's never had a lesson in their life is Bubba Watson. He's made a career of it.
Well, we're talking about athletes.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who don't need coaching because they can just look at a golf swing and do it, or throw a football. You know what I mean? Like if you're a talented athlete, nobody really needs to teach you how to throw a football. You know what I mean? Like until maybe you get to like a really high level, and then I don't know. But like, so yeah, there's people that, and actually everybody that comes to me, even if they're a beginner and they've never seen a golf club in their life, I always tell them, look, all I'm going to do is I hit a couple shots, so they just get they get an idea of what the golf swing kind of looks like. And I go, I'm not going to tell you anything because you might be a genius. And I say, I first, I want you to just hit a couple shots because you might do a lot of things well that we don't even have to talk about. You know what I mean? I'm only going to teach you something if it needs to be taught. I'm not going to teach you something just for the heck of it. So if you do a perfect swing, I'm going to say, look, it's never happened, right? But I just be like, oh my God, you're a genius. Like, here, save your money, go enjoy it.
And I mean, there's a lot of people out there that think they're geniuses, but I mean, it's one of those things where I don't care who you are. I mean, 99% of the people out there in the world, especially with how hard this game is, and even some of the best athletes in the world, like Steph Curry and, you know, some of these basketball players and people that perform so well in their own sport struggle with this game that's, you know... It's hilarious. You could be the best athlete you know in your particular sport, but that doesn't always relate to the game of golf. And you know, and that's what I think enthralls, you know, guys that are so good at their specific sport, or they're the best lawyer, or they're, you know, best doctor, because this is such a challenging game. And so totally. It brings that challenge and that sportsmanship out of them, because I don't think game is a golf of perfect. It's a game of imperfections, and you're just trying to minimize those imperfections to score as low as you possibly can. And to do that, I really heavily believe in seeing a teaching pro. And, you know,
absolutely,
I don't self-diagnose myself. I don't watch anything when it comes to swing analytics and things like that through YouTube.
Right.
If I need help or I'm at a certain point, I go see a teaching pro. And I'm really particular. Again, like you were just saying, you're not going to touch a part of the swing or try to change something that doesn't you know, that doesn't need to be talked about. And I think the analytics side of things for you, and you watching and just seeing how somebody performs and then going about it is what I respect about it.
That's the huge difference. So if you include, let's say the you know, the best PGA pro, so a really good coach, and then compare all the way to like the worst coach or worst amateur who's giving advice. Literally what you have is like that guy who was giving you some advice. Like, people, they'll just look at you swing and they'll see something. So they see anything which is different than to like Tiger Woods' swing or something. They see it, right? Of course you see it. And then as soon as they see one thing, they go, oh, you're doing that. And they just focus on that, right? Oh, you're doing that. Oh, you're like, whoa. And then as you go to the, you know, to the good coaches, they'll really observe everything. They'll get a, you know, kind of step back and get a really good perspective on everything that you're doing and figure out what are the root causes of those things. So there's a lot going on in the coach's mind, but what that coach should do is get as much as possible to the root cause and how that's going to address everything else, so that when they explain it to you, they can explain kind of the whole picture and then say, okay, that's the whole picture, and this is how we're going to attack it. You know, so you can really hit the nail on the head and go, boom, we're gonna work on this, focus just on that movement, and that's going to be key. That's going to make a huge difference, and these other 5 things are just going to disappear. Right. And that's what you want to do. You want to keep it as simple as possible. As a coach, if I can narrow that down, to where I can just have you do one super simple thing and just like fix your swing, that's my goal, right? To really make it as simple as possible. And I don't even like to use terminology and all that with most people, because you don't need to. You just explain what you're talking about. But we live in the information age, so it's so tempting. People like learn all this terminology and they want to, say it to people, and they want to sound smart, and
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's one of those things where I think, we've gotten to be in this world where there's so many people out there that are telling you so many different things, and it's who is telling either the truth or if it's the correct thing for you. And that's, again, I think the main thing that we're trying to get at for this episode, guys. Do your research, spend the money, cut out a round or two of golf a month, and get your game dialed in. It is so important, and there are so many good PGA pros out there that, if you guys need anybody or any recommendations, Ignacio, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, especially in Portland area, look up Ignacio Isern at Envision Golf. It will change your game dramatically. I'm telling you right now. And if you're in the Bay Area, you need some recommendations or, anything like that, please reach out to us, because Ashton sees a great pro in the Bay Area. All of our friends, there's a great place called the Golf Spa or the Golf Spot that's out in the East Bay. That's a wonderful place, ran by our buddy Kevin Pauly. And, those are people that you guys should definitely go out and see and get your game dialed in, because it's extraordinarily important. You can get yourself to a certain level. None of us are, savants. And like you just stated, there are some out there, but it's very rare that someone is going to walk in with a perfect swing and be able to analyze it themselves and correct those situations. None of us look at things that we're doing wrong and correct those things unless someone addresses it to us. And then you are made aware of it. And that's any part of your life. You'll go about life doing things either incorrectly or, things that bother other people. And unless it's addressed to you, you wouldn't know. And that's the same with your golf swing. You need somebody to help address those situations, because it's hard to self-diagnose.
Yeah, especially because, there are people out there in different fields who actually have a much deeper and better understanding of whatever it is than you do. So even if you're trying to, fix your own swing, you a lot of times you just don't have that understanding. So it's like, just find somebody who does, if that's not what you're an expert in, for the people who want to come, this is what I say to everyone, because you also have to be lucky, or as you said, through people like you, reach out to you who do know some good golf pros, through word of mouth, whatever, find good teachers, and go see them. And with me, I always tell people, look, you don't even have to take a risk. Like, you can book a lesson with me. We'll do it. If you're not 100% satisfied, you don't have to pay for the lesson. If you don't see like you're going to be able to improve with me, or that you're not already seeing something happening in that lesson, don't pay. That's what I tell everybody. So, and I'm saying it to everybody who's listening, just come for a lesson. If you're not 100% satisfied, don't pay.
That is a guarantee that he knows what he's talking about. So if you guys go to see Ignacio, and please do, it has changed my game just on the first session, and I'm so excited to continue our journey for me to be able to qualify for the Mid-Am. As you know, that's kind of my goal by next year. So, getting myself to the place where I'm going to be able to qualify, and I'm really excited for it. And thank you for coming on, Ignacio. If anybody does not follow us, please follow us on Municipals Golf on Instagram. Please give us a like and subscribe on any of our platforms on Spotify, iTunes, anything like that. Please leave a review. We absolutely appreciate it, guys. And again, Ignacio, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, man. It was my pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Take care, buddy.
You too. See you, man.